Okay, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn two Mrs. Wrongs doesn't make a compelling hour of television.
And in 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody! Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining me, as always, Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how's it going?
Guys, I don't know what to say. I don't know how we're gonna fill 45 minutes. I feel like we're the writers of these two episodes.
Wow. I feel like we're doing exactly what they did, and I feel bad for our audience right now.
Yeah.
You guys see how fucked up your childhood memory is yet?
Yeah, Corey.
It's ironic. It's ironic you bring that up, Corey, because there's actually a part of this episode that stuck with me that I even remember to this day.
Really?
From the very time you saw it.
Yes. When we get to it, I'll point it out. You might have a guess, but yeah, there's a part.
You know what's funny about that, Paul? I just watched the episode 20 minutes ago, and I can't remember a fucking thing.
Paul, I think I have a guess. I'm not going to say it, but I think I have a guess.
Yeah. Honestly, I was going back and forth about whether or not to take notes, and at a certain point, I was like, if I don't take notes, I won't remember any of this.
Because it's just so bland and vanilla.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump right into it, guys. If you're playing along at home, we are on season 5, episode 7, Mrs. Wrong, part 2. That's right. As we said last week, this is a two-parter, an unnecessary two-parter. And if you remember from last week, Mallory stressed at college, and so she makes the logical step of deciding to elope with Nick.
Makes sense.
That's pretty much
Makes
what happened.
sense to me.
Yeah. I can't handle my life. I should go marry my boyfriend. Yeah. Perfect. And we start off in the kitchen. It is in the dead of night. Mallory comes down, and I kind of appreciate it. It was a throwback to her Little House on the Prairie wardrobe.
That's what I wrote down. I wrote Laura Ingalls Wilder is eloping.
She looked like a fucking doily.
Yeah. I'm not one who...
That dress used to hang over the back of my grandmother's chair in her living room. For years, that dress was there.
in case the Pope came over.
Right. Now, I want to break this down for a second. Is this a wedding dress, or is this just a nice white dress that she has? Because if it's that, it looks like it's for getting married.
It's a wedding dress.
Why does she...
I mean, I understand your point, saying that it's got to be a nice... Right, why would she have gone out and bought a wedding dress at any point in time? She's 12 years old.
Yeah. And I don't know the timeline now because it's a two-parter, but I don't know when she had the time to go get it.
My question is, I want to, because I'm not entirely sure about the aesthetics of these things, but to me it looks like an objectively ugly dress.
Yeah.
It is very unattractive. Even for 1985, it's unattractive.
And my question is, isn't Mallory a clothes horse? Yeah. Like she...
You know what? I thought that myself. I thought, she's a fashion trendsetter, isn't she?
Yeah. So what's the deal here? Why did they give her such an ugly dress?
Mm-hmm.
Question 2 is, they're going to elope. She's now driving. She's hopping on either a motorcycle or in a car. In her dress.
Yeah.
And where the hell are they driving to that it's legal to elope? What county? Is it like in West Virginia? Is it like in a corner of, where is East Bumfuck, where there's a welcome to our county where you can elope right here without a wedding license?
Well, Corey, this is one of those examples. This is one of those examples of the crew of Family Ties hating their audience and thinking that they're morons. In the last episode, Nick said they were going to New Jersey, and now they're saying they're just hopping over the state line.
Oh, wow, they contradict themselves? That's nice.
They went away for the week and forgot everything that they wrote. Didn't bother to review it. There's all we know is Mallory and Nick are getting married and eloping. Let's go. Let's do this.
So it's 5 a.m. It's 5 a.m. and Mallory is about to head out the door, and Alex comes in his pajamas, and the first thing he needs
is the first thing is what?
Orange juice.
Of course. Yeah. At 5 a.m., who doesn't want a nice, refreshing glass of acidic, pulpy orange juice?
I mean, I would rather have cold pizza.
You know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Alex is swilling OJ. You know, there's a lot of OJ swilled in this episode, actually, early in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that maybe that might be something that would stem the tide of how boring this episode was, like that we could just spot orange juice. No, not at all.
No, I was hoping it would reappear in Act 2, but they stopped it with the orange juice, and that's when my attention waned.
I mean, Corey, could you imagine if they went to that chapel or whatever, and it was just orange juice everywhere? That would have been hilarious.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Oh. That would be amazing. Here's what I didn't like about this scene. This scene, like, for the stakes involved, played so seriously. The way Michael J. Fox is playing it, it seems like really intense, really serious.
And that's the thing, is that throughout this episode, in every scene of this episode, I feel like we're having the same conversations that we had in part 1 of this episode.
Oh, it's the same scene over and over again. And it doesn't stop with Alex's narcissism, because right after he tried to talk her out of it, first question is, was it me? Is it because of me? Yes, Alex, people are now because of you. You figured into a decision of other people's marriage.
I wonder in the history, other than maybe like in royal families throughout history type thing, has anyone ever gotten married out of spite for a relative?
I'm gonna get married to someone just to spite my brother, my older brother.
You did?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
What is Alex's need to be a parental figure? Like he with everyone in this family, he feels like his siblings, he feels like he needs to be the one responsible for raising them.
Well, I think that harkens back to the original concept where he is the mature one, and you know the conservative mature one, and the parents are the liberal dipping decisions. But that's just not whatever happened in the show. I mean, they can say that's what the concept was, but the parents seem to have their shit together. Both of them have jobs. They're raising 4 children. They seem to be doing just fine.
Well, Corey, to be fair, they're raising 3 children, and then Jennifer is raising a child.
Right. That's the only nice thing in this episode, is that Jennifer finally gets a scene that does not involve her with Andy or doing laundry or chores of any kind.
It's true. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but my God, at one point they're like, "Where are all the kids?" And I'm like, "Where's Andy?"
We should set up the joke that the writers decided to run into the ground. Last week it was with the spiritual singing. This week it's with a bit of Nick apparently can't find Mallory's window to call out to her, and he brought a ladder. And so we discovered that Nick has been going up to each window in the house, calling in and getting the wrong room. So Alex comes down, basically saying he thought he had a dream where Nick was calling to him. What happened with each member of the family?
Yeah,
it was a horrible bit.
It's a terrible bit, and the thing that's so stupid about it is the fact that like he ends up just coming in through the kitchen and finds them together. He finds Alex Mellon. So why didn't he just say, "I'll see you at 5:00. I'll come in the back door"? It's the dumbest. There's no logic to it, and as an ongoing joke, it doesn't work. It's completely ill-conceived. And I think Corey might be asleep right now.
I think he is. Hey, Corey.
Yeah. Oh God.
Corey. Oh, hey. I know, man.
I just had a terrible dream, and in that dream, Nick was at my window, and he was wearing a blue tie. There. And oh my God, each time in this episode, beating that one. Okay, 3 times? No, it's gonna 4. It's gonna win it.
Yeah, it's. They love that joke. So yeah, Nick. Yeah, you're right, Paul. And as we all know, that back door is always unlocked. People just come through it all the time.
Of course, easy access.
Yeah.
The Keaton back door is always easy access.
Yeah.
I read that.
Yeah, so Nick finally comes to the back door in the kitchen. He's all excited, and Alex pleads with them one last time to try to stop them. They head off to cross the state lines. Mallory really wants Alex to join her, but Alex can't bring himself to do it.
Yeah, everything that they say in this episode, they say, "Why don't we do this?" and then they abandon it. Every scene in this episode is just a bunch of ideas that they vomit out, and then they do nothing with it, and nothing means anything, and there's no stakes to anything, and no one really cares about what's going on around them.
Absolutely. And from last week, talking over the episode last week, it's like this is what we saw coming. Like everything, all of this we saw coming, and they throw no surprises at us.
No. This is I think it's maybe apocryphal that someone described, or the review of Waiting for Godot was nothing happens twice. So nothing happens and then less happens.
Yes.
That's how one would describe this 2-part episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
The shocking amount of time they spend not telling a story is amazing to me, that they get away with that. It's like, how do we fill 22 minutes yapping without telling any kind of a story?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I feel like we do that in most quality time episodes.
It's true. It's true. We're just working with what we got, Paul.
But honestly, no, it's so shocking that in this episode, like, not even one scene where something happens that you're like, oh, that made sense, or that there was a reason for that scene to exist. That never happens. I think it takes more work to do this little.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have been easier to just tell a story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So in scene two, it's later in the morning, but still quite early. Jennifer comes downstairs, and Alex is watching TV, and that's it.
Yeah, it's just a repeat of the first scene, except it's with Jennifer and Alex.
Exactly. And Alex tells her the events that we just watched.
Yeah, and we're just reiterating that Jennifer is all for Mallory going to get married to Nick. She seems to be the only one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's go to the next scene, because that's it.
Truly. So now
it really is.
Now we're at like what looks like.
Funny.
Oh, go ahead, Corey.
I was just saying, we're like wrote a note and we go to the next scene, but that's almost like this week. It's shockingly nothing's marked the beats in the story, but there are no beats in any of the story. It's like something. Okay, we go to a scene. We go to the next scene, the same thing happens. We go to the next scene. The same thing happens. That's all there is. That's the show.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. Because the next scene is in the kitchen. Lisa's making pancakes.
No. Scott, you skipped it.
No. Did I miss something?
Scene. I think the next scene is at the house where they are now eloping.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right.
It's
and that house
completely understandable because nothing happens in this scene.
I can't. And that house was scary as shit.
It looked like a crystal meth house.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like converted into a church or something.
Yeah, it looked like a guy's own personal house that he converted to a church to have this business. While at the same time looking like this, I was like, this, I think I made a note of, this is how horror movies start out.
Truly. And especially because
like something bad was...
We're meeting so many different young couples. It really feels like a horror movie. Like, as soon as they start having sex, people are going to die.
Right. And then like the guy that runs it comes out and he's creepy too. He's like this creepy old guy.
He looks like Billy Graham.
Oh, he does.
He actually is an actor quite famous for being the arc of The Family for about 20 years on General Hospital.
Was he on at the same time as like John Stamos?
1996, so probably a little bit late. 96 through 2012.
Okay.
Passed away while he was on the show.
Oh, that's too bad.
Wow.
He was fine on this episode.
Wow.
Yeah, sure. He was sort of a creepy justice of the peace.
That's what I liked about it. There was a smarminess to him that he seemed to like get off on all these young kids.
Yeah.
He's like,
so yeah, give me $25 and I'll marry you.
Yeah. Oh, where are you going after this? You want me to come with you? You want to hang out?
That would have made this episode so much better.
That would have been pretty cool. But we meet this other couple besides Nick and Mallory. They meet Mike and Aaron.
Mm-hmm. And there's a bit of them like, when did you meet? Oh, we met last Tuesday. So they're kind of rushing into this.
Yeah, all of these silences for anyone listening, all of these silences every time we give you a piece of information is the same way that we felt while watching it. It's just like the show trots out some information, and then you go, okay, and now what?
Right.
And then there's nothing. So
it's like the writers were trying to go for a funny joke there, and we're like,
no, we're giving you an audio experience of what it feels like to watch this episode.
Yep. And so we meet this couple. They're getting ready to get married. They asked Nick for $20 or it's $20 to get married, or 25.
Right.
20, who cares? Yeah.
Exactly.
And so it makes no difference. So it's just a dumb bit. He's like, I didn't realize I would have to buy her lunch too. So like the guy doesn't have the money even, for the ceremony. And then we cut back to the kitchen.
There's a table filled with orange juice.
Filled with orange juice. Yeah, there's pancakes. Lisa's making pancakes. And really all that happens in this scene is Stephen and Elise discover that Mallory is gone. And that Alex has gone after them, and that Mallory and Nick are eloping. That's really all that happens.
What shocked me in this scene is Elise shouts out the kitchen door into the living room saying, Jennifer, Alex, Mallory, breakfast is ready, and she doesn't even say Andy.
Yeah. That is shocking. I didn't pick up on that, but you're right, Paul.
It's really weird because I wrote down, "Where's Andy?" And then he comes downstairs.
He finally comes down. Do you think I think the writers have forgotten that Andy's on this show.
Corey, do you have any?
That's what
You hate Andy the most. Do you have anything?
I just wrote down the single word to remind me. Hated this little scenelet they let him do, where he smiled almost twice, 2 different times, fucking smirk on his ugly little bowl cut hair. Some priests somewhere on this child. I hate this kid more than life itself. Every time I watch it, and I curse the 2 of you for forcing me to be into. Thank you.
Oh no!
Wow!
Oh my God, we have hit a new low, folks.
That is a wow. I thought we were at bottom, but Corey, thanks for taking us lower.
Whew.
Oh man.
I thought
Yeah,
I thought season 4 was our breaking point, that it's just we're back out of the drudgery and the swamps. But no, this is
yeah.
Andy, there's one little moment in this episode, and he blew it. He just smirks. His mouth doesn't make any kind of a thing. He tries to look serious. Everything he does is a child trying to act. There's no acting going on. It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really mumbles too.
I was also looking at even like the 2 still shots of him in the opening, where they have the single 5x7 picture of Brian Bonsall, and then the family portrait that the credits close with. And even both of those looks, he's stupid looking. Couldn't they just tell from the very beginning that kid is stupid looking? Let's dump his ass now before he ruins our fucking great.
I love that he's stupid looking in the credits. That's amazing.
You freeze the frame like I did. I feel about this child very much like I feel about the Trivago man.
Who's that?
The guy who advertises for the website Trivago on television.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
You've seen it. Trust me. There's a gazillion. It's like I've never seen Flo from Progressive. This is the Trivago guy. It's that website that calls all the other travel websites together, and he's got gray hair, and he looks like he's a child molester. He's just creepy. Stop fast forwarding your DVRs during some commercials. You'll see the Trivago guy, and he'll creep your ass out too. like Nick looking at me through the window. He creeps me out.
Wait, and Andy looks like the Trivago guy, or just creeps you out the same way?
It's just the same feeling.
Oh man. Well, gang, on that note, we are going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back. If Bryant did his job right, you were just listening to a Trivago commercial.
Yeah. Guys, before we jump back into it, the Oscars were the other night. Did you guys see Michael J. Fox get out of the DeLorean?
I did.
It was amazing.
It was great.
It was. I feel like we had to acknowledge it on the show. But yeah, it was incredible.
Seth Rogen was wearing the shoes from Back to the Future 2.
It was awesome.
No.
Okay, so we are back.
Wait, Paul,
what's up?
Did you really turn the TV off, Paul, right after they said La La Land won?
Yeah.
I did. I turned it right off. I was so pissed off. And then all of Twitter went into caps lock. And I was like, what's going on? What happened? What happened? So.
actually believe that because I remember way back when Crash was nominated and Paul talking about how awful Crash was, which it is.
It's the only movie I've ever walked out of.
Mm-hmm. And so when I saw your reaction of like turning off La La Land, I was like, yeah, he probably did do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back at the chapel, and it's getting ready. Nick and Mallory are kind of on. They're filling. Nick is filling out the form that you need to get married. Mallory is getting more and more nervous, and she every time Nick is asking a question about like Steven's middle name and Elise's maiden name, she keeps like getting closer and closer to tears. And it's become.
And so the interesting information here for some trivia is that we learn both of their middle names.
That's right.
So it's Elise Catherine Donnelly and Stephen Richard Keaton.
Yep. And she kind of confesses to Nick like she never really expected it to be like this. She expected her friends and family to be there. And I think it's at this point that the creepy reverend comes over, the creepy justice of the peace comes over and asks them what they want played. Yeah. Was this the part, Paul, that you remember?
This is the part that I remember.
I remember this too. And so the justice of the peace asked Nick, what would you like played at your wedding? And he goes, Lola by the Kinks.
A+. And so as a kid, I asked my parents what Lola was, and they sang it for me, and then it quickly became one of my favorite songs.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
I love a trip down memory lane, gentlemen. That was delightful. Boy, it was worth watching this two-part piece of beauty. And we can reminisce about the Kinks and Lola.
I feel I forget sometimes, Corey, of that we're just dragging you into this. That out of the kindness and goodness of your heart, you agreed to do this, but you had no connection like Paul and I, and we've slowly been torturing you for the past 2 years.
I'll be honest.
This show pissed me off the first time around.
I'll be honest. I never forgot this, Corey. And this moment right now is what I've been waiting for 2 years.
It's been an elaborate ploy just to break Corey.
Yes.
You know, Paul, that this moment was in this episode, or did you realize it as the episode was going on that, oh, this moment's going to be in there?
No, what, the Kinks thing, or just that you were going to break?
Kinks thing.
No, the Kinks thing, I just remembered Nick saying that he liked the song Lola, and then I turned to my parents and was like, what is Lola? And they sang it, and they were like, looks like a woman but talks like a man. And I thought that was the funniest, coolest thing. So I remembered Lola and learning about Lola from Nick on Family Ties. That's all I remembered.
This episode. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know when it would happen. I didn't know whatever. But it was like the when they were wearing the squirrel outfits in the basement. I was like, I remember this one thing. So
right. This makes me really worried to see where we're going to be by season 7.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm surprised it took Corey this long to freak out this much. It's amazing.
I know. Both Aaron and what's the girl's name?
Mike.
Or the guy's name?
Michael.
Aaron and Michael, they're about to get married. And while they're getting married, Mallory pulls Nick aside and basically says, tells him, I just don't, this doesn't feel right and everything. And Nick actually said, well, I don't think we're ready. I just felt that, you're smarter about these things than I am. So I felt if you think we're ready, then we're ready. But it kind of again like how reminded me like how cool of a character Nick is.
Always.
You know?
Somehow Nick as a character is smarter than the writers who write him.
Yes.
He's always more level-headed and forward-thinking. It's amazing.
Yeah. And right as this is happening, of course, as you know, you can expect, Alex comes running in and stops Mike and Aaron's wedding.
Dun dun dun. It's like The Graduate, except not good.
Or funny.
Right.
Yeah. And so this is where I just completely kind of was just tuning in and out because, yeah, you know, Alex is basically convincing him to say, well, maybe you two kids are good for each other. And then he talks to Mallory and Nick. They've kind of come to their senses and realized maybe we shouldn't get married. Maybe it's not the time to do it. Is Corey gone?
Oh, did he leave? Wow. Oh, no, he's back. Okay.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what happens in the chapel.
Yeah, Alex.
Did I miss anything?
Alex almost stops 2 weddings, but really he only stopped 1.
Right.
And that's about it, folks.
And there's no jokes really at all.
Yeah. So then we go home.
No funny, nor sad, nor touching, nor any eyes there. Just like an oil slick that's risen on top of a it's just awful. It just sits there.
Yeah.
That's pretty apt.
And again, yeah. Yeah. And like we've been talking about, guys, is every scene is kind of just repeating the same information. So this ending scene is pretty much just repeating what conclusions were made in the previous scene.
Oh, absolutely. So we're at home with Stephen.
Like Stephen and Elise.
Stephen and Elise are waiting for everyone to come home. They're girding themselves for the potentiality that they are now going to have a son-in-law.
Yep.
Nick and Mallory come home. Turns out they're not married, so everything's fine. Alex comes home. Everything's fine, and that's it.
And he's gonna go out on a date with Aaron.
I mean,
which makes
now
sense.
If I just said that more slowly, then that would be the same amount of information over the same amount of time as the actual scene.
Yeah, to continue going on talking about this would just be doing what this episode is doing to our audience.
And I respect our audience more than that. Corey, I know you don't.
Absolutely.
I know you hate our audience, Corey. I don't know why am I trying to get like a feud going with you?
I don't know.
You mean the audience? I don't know.
I don't know. I want you, everyone listening, email us about Corey. And
yeah, please tweet. Let us know.
Yeah. I don't know why. I'm trying to find conflict because there wasn't any in the episode.
We have nothing else to do, so something has to happen.
Yeah.
I hate our audience. I just hate them all. They're all idiots out there.
Everyone should tweet angry pictures of cats at Corey.
Yes. Gentlemen, here's the scary thing: is it looks like we have at least another 4 or 5 2-part episodes.
Why do you keep reminding us of this, Scott?
Because I think we need to be vigilant. At a time like this, Paul, we have to be vigilant and we have to prepare.
Scott, you're like the type of person where when the house is on fire, you're like, oh, by the way, the bills are due tomorrow. It's like, Scott, there's a time and a place for this information.
I'm just saying this because I feel we're going to walk down this road again. That's why we're going to get trapped into a shitty 2-parter and have to deal with it.
Yeah, well.
This season 5, man, this is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul's deep thinking with the pen in his mouth.
It's true. I was thinking back to the times that I used to smoke. I was like, oh, could I use a cigarette right now?
We might have to find a way to introduce more drinking into if we're gonna make it through.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Corey, you got any last thing to add?
Yeah, I like the way that Alex also took credit at the end for the wedding, for them breaking up their marriage, the two of them not getting married.
You know, Corey,
yeah.
I honestly feel like in this episode specifically, they put those little like flourishes of narcissism just to goad you on.
Yeah, it really did feel like it.
Yep, I feel that way.
Because honestly, he did nothing else in the episode except come in, stand around, and then be like, hey, guess what? Everything's about me twice. And I'm like, that's got to be for Corey.
That happened.
The writers are like, years, decades down the line, someone's really going to pick up on this and be pissed. Let's make sure we let them know that we know.
Yep, me.
Yep. Well, that about wraps it up for us, guys. For questions and comments, be sure to write us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at QTWFT. Each of us is also on Twitter. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
And I'm at Corpep.
And be sure to like our Facebook page. We like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is an online conglomerate of geek media providing its readers with daily interviews, insights into the geek pop culture spectrum. We also like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs the theme song Without Us. Check out all of Perry's music on perryadams.com. We like to thank Brian Dillon, Fanbase Press's president, and he's also the editor of our show. Check him out on Twitter at Comic Book Slayer. And lastly, Sean Foster, Fanbase Press's graphic designer, for designing our logo. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye.
La 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 la.
Bye.